Ash from Super Videos back for another video. This is going to be my review and discussion for 7:15 of The Walking Dead, which was called Something They Need. So overall, I actually really enjoyed this episode. There's a few nitpicks that I have here and there, but overall, I actually really enjoyed this episode. So let's get right into this from the beginning. So the intro, which is basically the journey to the ocean side, and I actually really enjoyed the way they did that, where they had the voiceover of Tara talking to Rick in the background, but the images we were getting, it was actually their journey to the ocean side. I actually really enjoyed the montage there and the way they put the voiceover to tell us what actually Tara told Rick, but not actually show it on screen. So in a way, it took away from it being a filler because we already knew about it. So if they were just gonna show us Tara talking to Rick about it, it would feel like filler because we already know about that. So I actually really enjoyed the way they did that with just showing us images of the journey, but the voiceover being what Tara told Rick. So that was great. Then the next thing, we come to the hilltop. We see Maggie talking to Eduardo, I think, from the hilltop, and they're talking about farming and things like that. That was a good small scene between them, and it actually worked very well in showing us that Maggie is beginning to get some sort of boss treatment, because even Eduardo called her boss lady. So it seems like she's getting that leadership position at the hilltop, and it's great to see little pieces of that in these episodes that we see from the hilltop. So that was very cool as well. Going from there, we have one of the highlights of this episode. So we come back to the sanctuary and we see what happens with Sasha. Now, I do have a problem with this part a little bit. One, because I wanted to see what happens with Sasha right when she went in. I know they said that there was a lot of gunfire and things like that the night before, but I actually wanted to see what happened. I wanted to see Negan react to actually hearing about something going on, and we didn't get that. So I was a bit disappointed because of that. Now, the next thing is the David scene. So David comes to Sasha and he is being very flirty with her, and he's basically trying to rape her. And I actually liked the setup there, but the thing that I didn't enjoy was Negan's reaction. Negan shows up, he's very calm, and it's like he knows. He says, you tried to rape this lady, and then boom, he kills David. And I thought that was good because of how sudden it was, because it was just like that in the comics. But what I have a problem with is I wanted it to take Negan a bit of time to catch on what David was trying to do. It felt forced in a way because it's like Negan knew already, and then he acted right away. So to me, I wanted to see a bit more setup, not just from David to Sasha, but from Negan finding out. So that's a small thing that I have a problem with in this specific sequence here. But I loved that whole scene with David getting stabbed and then Negan talking to Sasha about it. I actually really enjoyed that. I thought that was clever the way they did that, and also it was a great performance by Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And then going from there, we have Eugene's discussion with Sasha, and that was also one of the scenes that I really enjoyed. Even though it was just a discussion between them, but it worked very well in showing us why Eugene is acting this way. And he basically says that I've never been as afraid as I was during the lineup scene, and I never wanted something like that to happen to me again. Which is why I basically said, I'm gonna stay with this person who killed my friends, but I'm safe. So it was really cool to see that. I'm not saying that I agree with Eugene, but I'm just saying that it was great that they put that out there and we got the perspective of Eugene. It was just pouring out, and it was basically saying all of the things that were bottled up inside of him for whatever time he's been at the sanctuary. So that was cool as well. Then we have the scene from the sneak peek with Gregory and Maggie. I actually knew that Gregory wasn't gonna stab Maggie, so it didn't surprise me. But of course, we saw that Gregory is very weak and he can't even kill a walker. He just started screaming and the walker wasn't even close to him. And then of course, when the walker got close to him, he started screaming like a little girl. Maggie had to save him. But that scene was also very cool because it, one, showed us how strong Maggie was, and two, it showed us how weak and pathetic Gregory was. So it was a great scene. Then we have the part where Tara basically sneaks into the house at the oceanside and holds Natania and Cindy at gunpoint and tells them that we need you to help us in this fight. Now, of course, Natania doesn't agree, but I actually really enjoyed that whole scene between them. I thought it was very well done. And then right after, when the oceanside actually gets attacked by the survivors, to me it felt very weird because in my head I was saying that they don't deserve this, that this is not fair for them, the survivors at the oceanside. But the other part of me was that there's probably no other choice because we just saw Natanya say she doesn't want to help. So I was very conflicted during this whole action sequence where they were attacking. But I actually really enjoyed what they did. And they pretty much made us feel for the oceanside, but at the same time, it's something that had to be done. So I really liked that. And then, of course, we have the moment when Natanya holds Tara at gunpoint, brings him to Rick, and then the conversation between them, which I really loved as well. I really loved what Rick was saying because he was trying to be peaceful about it, but at the same time, he showed Natanya that she has no control, that they're gonna do what they're gonna do. They're gonna take the weapons. So I really enjoyed that. But then, of course, we have the part with Cindy knocking Natanya out, which was very cool to see because it showed that even though Cindy loves Natanya, who's her grandmother, she will do what's necessary because she feels like this is not just about them. It's a bigger thing. If the survivors get these weapons, they may actually be able to defeat the saviors. And that's going to be good for everyone. So I really like that. And then, of course, we have the part with the walkers coming in and they have to shoot all these walkers. I actually really enjoyed that. I had like a No Way Out vibe during this sequence, so it was very great. I actually really enjoyed it. And it was cool to see some of the fighters at the oceanside fighting alongside the survivors. So it was just one of those cool moments. So I really enjoyed that. Then going back to the sanctuary, we have the part where Sasha stabbed David when he became a walker, and then we have Negan saying that he's glad that she made that decision, that she agreed to basically surrender to Negan and everything. But one thing I want to mention here, because Negan said, a little birdie told me that Rick has some ideas, or something along those lines. I'm not sure who that could be. We know it's not Gregory. Gregory didn't go to the sanctuary yet. We know he did afterwards, but not at that point. So it's very interesting. But we do know that Negan basically said that we're going to go back to Alexandria, and now that you're on our side, we're going to basically try to convey the message that this war that they're planning isn't going to work out, and they're all going to get killed during the war, so it's better if they just back off. So that's going to be the finale. Negan and the other saviors going to Alexandria, which is going to be very intense, and I can't wait to do the promo breakdown from the next episode. I haven't even looked at the promo yet, so I'm going to do that. But I just thought that it was very interesting that Negan knows that. Who could possibly have told him? But if you know, let me know in the comment section below. But of course, we know that Sasha didn't surrender, that she's just playing. And of course, she tells Eugene about it and, basically tells Eugene that I need you to give me like a knife or something so I can end it. So they don't have me to use as leverage to get what they want. So then Eugene gives Sasha the pills and it's like a goodbye moment for Sasha. She basically is about to take her own life with the pills, which is probably going to happen off screen. So it looks more and more like we're going to get the scene from the comics with Holly in the finale, which is going to be very cool. So then we get to the part with Gregory at the hilltop. This is right after he failed to kill a walker, so he's feeling pathetic, and he basically tells Cal, one of the guards, to drive him somewhere. Now we know he's probably going to drive him to whatever direction Simon gave him. So Gregory is basically going to go to Simon and say, I need you to kill Maggie for me. That's obvious, but it's going to be interesting to see if Gregory even makes it to Simon and what happens there. But that's going to be very cool. I'm not sure if that's going to be in the finale or maybe even the next season. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. So then we go back to the ocean side and we have Rick and the others getting the weapons. So they have the weapons that they need, which is very cool. Now, originally I thought that we're going to get something to do with the heapsters or the scavengers in this episode as well, but we're not. So that's most likely going to be in the finale. So in the finale, Rick and the others are going to get those weapons to the Heapsters, and the Heapsters are gonna agree to join them in the war, which is gonna be very cool as well. And then the ending scene, which I really enjoyed, the cliffhanger with the survivors and Rick going to Alexandria and finding that Dwight is there. Rosita tells them he's here to help. But I just loved how Daryl just charged at Dwight. If they didn't let him go, he would just beat his ass. So I really enjoyed that. I thought that the rage inside Daryl at that moment was phenomenal. And Norman Reedus playing Daryl Dixon did a phenomenal job portraying that anger in that moment. So I really like that. But then we have Rick and the others holding Daryl back, and Rosita says he's here to help, and Rick pulls out the gun and says, I need you to kneel, and then points the gun to Dwight's face. So that's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. So is Rick going to actually shoot Dwight? I don't think so, but it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Rick pointing the gun at Dwight. It's going to be cool to see what Rick is going to say and why he's doing that. He probably just wants to do that so that he could basically push Dwight to see if he could actually trust him. But I really enjoyed that. Now, the thing with Dwight, I'm beginning to see comic Dwight's comic arc being built up and happening on screen in the TV show as well, which is going to be very cool. But that's basically it for my review. In terms of a rating, I would give this episode a mid-low grade rating. It was action-packed, but at the same time it had great storytelling and character development. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll be back for another video.